Welcome to your virtual CFO coach. I'm your host, Leah Torbert, founder and CEO of Harrington Strategic Partners. I've spent my entire career working in the startup world, scaling businesses to multi-7 and 8 figures. I built this podcast to share all of that knowledge with you and make your path to success shorter and easier. Tune in each week as I cover topics including financial analysis, cash flow management, holistic strategy, mindset, and more. Now for today's episode. Are you on track to meet your 2023 goals? Did hearing that question make you feel excited or sick to your stomach? I'm a little queasy myself. This has been a rough year for me and my business. If you've kept up with me, you know that I caught a nasty case of COVID at the end of 2022. I tried to be superwoman and just ignore how awful I felt once the worst of it had passed, but that didn't work for long. It took me 6 months to fully recover. 6 months of struggling to sleep, struggling to eat healthy, struggling to get my workouts in. 6 months of the worst brain fog and fatigue that I have ever felt. 6 months of hoping that it would stop and that I would be able to get back to enjoying life and building my business. Thankfully, it did, but a lot was put on hold in the process. So I'm sitting here putting this podcast episode together in August and reviewing my goals for the rest of the year. As I said earlier, my stomach is a little queasy, but I'm also thankful and looking forward to finishing Q3 in recovery mode and building in Q4. I'm still here and I'm not giving up. And my message for you today is that you shouldn't either. Whatever your reasons are, if you're off track on your goals, now is the time to dig in, regroup, and find a way through. It doesn't matter if you're listening to this episode in August, or if you find me in October, or if you're listening to this next year and you're feeling behind. The best time to start is always now. Don't waste time. Don't think about all the different things that could have happened or should have happened or would have happened if you'd just done XYZ. None of that matters. Now is the time. Get back on track, get focused, and start working towards your goals again, even if it's been months since you looked at them. And here's my 5-step process that I have just gone through as, I'm working on this in August after a hellacious year, and I just wanted to share this with you. So step 1 is assess your goals. You always have to start there. Are the goals that you set at the beginning of the year still reasonable for where you are right now? I can tell you mine aren't. And this is one of the hardest things for me as a recovering overachiever perfectionist. I know there are many of you out there like me listening to this who struggle with trying to be 110% with everything that you do, and everything just needs to be done just the right way and just the right time. This is really hard. Admitting that I can't do something goes against the grain for me. But what I've realized is that it's not really a case of whether I can do it or not. There are many circumstances that affect our ability to achieve our goals, and many of them have nothing to do with how hard we work. We need to set aside our pride, set aside the negative self-talk, and just look at the situation as it is. Look at the data, look at what has happened, what is going on currently in the markets, in your life, in your business, and just decide what adjustments need to be made, if any, to achieve the goal. Maybe you set a revenue goal for yourself at the beginning of the year, and like me, you got sick, or maybe something else happened to you, and now it's August, and you're looking at that revenue goal and going, wow, that seems really far away right now. Maybe for the 4 months that are left in the year, you need to decide if that revenue goal still makes sense. With the business that you have now, with the things that you have in place to be able to grow, can you still achieve it? Or maybe you need to be a little bit more realistic in what you think you can do now for the next 4 months to close out the year and then build back up for next year. I know that's what I'm doing. I could try to kill myself and work 60, 70, 80 hours and put all that stress on top of me. But what I've learned over the last 6 months, 7 months is that kind of behavior doesn't help me stay healthy. It doesn't help me stay focused. And so I'm working really hard to put that overachiever perfectionist mindset out of the way and really focus on building a business and building a life that's healthy for me. And I encourage you to do the same thing. So once you've assessed your goals, whether you've decided to keep the old goal or you've kind of reset your goal, the next step is to fully commit to it. It doesn't matter what your original goal was before you got off track. It doesn't. What matters now is the new goal that you've set for yourself. You need to commit to it 100%. If you start thinking about the shoulds or what ifs, it's game over. Period. End of discussion. You will get lost in the endless loop of thoughts about if you just done this, or if this had happened a different way, or if your timing had worked out, or whatever the case may be. You're going to spend all your time thinking about what might have been instead of working on what you can do now and what will be. You need to focus on the new goal, to commit to it 100%, and to do everything that you can to achieve that goal and be happy with yourself at the same time. Step 3 is to decide on your action plan. What actually needs to happen to achieve this new goal? You don't have to rewrite everything. I absolutely recommend that you don't do that. Go back to your original action plan if you had one and revise it as needed. What is your new time frame? For me, my new time frame is the next 4 months. I'm working on closing out this year. What are your new milestones? I have some milestones built around revenue. I have milestones built around new customers, bringing new customers on board. That's going to be really important for the next 4 months. I also have some goals outside of the business on my health and my fitness and working to make sure that I maintain balance in my life and my business, because I know for me, I function better that way. What resources do you need? The resources that you thought you needed at the beginning of the year to achieve whatever your goal was may or may not be the same. I know I have done a lot of thinking in the last 6 months, since I didn't really feel up to doing much else much of that time, around what's really important in my business, what's really important in my life, and what I want to focus on. And the resources that I need have changed. I have added coaches, I've dropped coaches, I have looked at different platforms to be on, different books I need to read, financing options, how can I make things easier for my customers, all of those kinds of things, and created my own resource list on what I need to do. So I highly recommend that you take some time and kind of work through that on your own so that you have a list and you know what you need. And then the last thing is, what will you do to keep yourself focused? This one's really important. We get bogged down in the day-to-day, all the daily to-dos that we need to take care of, whether it's business related or in our personal lives. And it's really hard without active action to keep your goals in mind, to stay focused on what you need to be working on and not get distracted in all the little fires that pop up. So it's really important, whether that is a coach, if you need some kind of notification on your phone, if you need to tape your goals to the mirror in the morning and read them, whatever works for you, make sure that you're making that effort as well, and that you're understanding what you need to be successful and stay focused on your goals. And then break down your milestones into monthly and weekly targets. So for example, there's 4 months left in the year. And thinking about what's going to happen 4 months from now can be a little daunting, but it can also make it seem like you have a lot more time than you really do, because things happen very quickly and we tend to procrastinate when we think we have more time. And so breaking the milestones down, if you have a revenue goal, if you have a customer acquisition goal, if you have a goal on implementing new processes or a piece of software, whatever that is, break down those milestones Understand what you need to do every month, understand what you need to do every week. And then as the week begins, you look at what are your daily tasks? What are your team's tasks? What do they need to do? If you have managers in place that help manage teams, make sure you're having those conversations with your managers and that your managers are having those conversations with their direct reports. That way the messaging is consistent and everyone knows what the goals are and when certain things need to be done. Step 4, just do the things. Schedule the time on your calendar and your teams, if you have one, to get out there and actually get it done. You can have the best plan in the world, but if you don't actually execute on the plan, nothing's going to happen. Review your daily goals. Just 5 minutes in the morning looking at your goals will do huge things in improving your mindset and improving your focus in how you follow through with the things that you need to do every day to achieve those goals. Then gather feedback from your team, gather feedback from your data as you go, and adjust as needed to refine your processes and increase your efficiency. As you're going through these steps, think about if you have any redundancies in your processes, if there's a quicker way to achieve something, maybe connecting some different pieces of the puzzle together, getting people together in your organization that maybe have some overlap, getting your team together to think about how they can improve what they're doing every day and how communication can be better and how information access can be faster. Those are the kinds of things that you can look at as you're going through the process of getting the work done, of actually achieving that goal so that you can get there faster and learn with your team. And then step 5, this is a really big one. Don't forget to prep for next year. We're quickly approaching Q4 as I'm recording this, and that means it's time to plan for the next year. Don't wait till December. You're going to have way too much going on. Q4 is the perfect time to start looking at what you want to do next year in your business, to look at resources, to look at processes, to look at software and people and revenue and customer retention and all of those things that help you build a successful business. Q4 is the time to do it. Start at the beginning of Q4. Baby steps, start getting information together. You can review what's already happened this year and then look at what you want to happen next year. And to give you a little bit more guidance on the steps to kind of dive into that, I actually have 2 previous podcasts that I will link in the notes. I did these Q4 of 2022. So it's planning for a successful 2023 part 1. And then there's a part 2 to that as well. And that walks you through the strategic planning process, the budgeting, the forecasting, setting goals, doing all those things to prepare your business for the next year. Now, you might be listening to this and just feeling a little bit overwhelmed and wondering where you're going to start. And the best that you can do right now is brew your coffee and get your to-dos done. And I totally understand that. Being a business owner, trying to take care of everything can be really stressful and overwhelming. Annual planning is an extremely important part of the process. But there's a few other things outside of that that you need to be aware of as well. If you're behind on your bookkeeping, if you're behind on your tax payments, if you're behind on filing your taxes, these kinds of things need to be addressed as well. The longer you wait, the more painful it will be. Penalties and fees stack up quickly with the IRS. I am not a CPA and I can't help you with your taxes, but my business can help you get ready for tax season, even if you're years behind. We offer a wide range of services to streamline your accounting and let you focus on what you do best, which is to manage and grow your business. Popular services are catch-up bookkeeping. So that's where you're basically more than 60 days behind in your bookkeeping, and so you need some help to get caught up. We also do monthly bookkeeping, which scales based off of the size of your business. So we have a few plans to really try to target where you are now so that you're only spending what you need to spend. You're not paying for something that you don't need. I also offer budgeting and forecasting, cash flow management, strategic planning, process development. I work with a lot of business owners one-on-one, and I've also done some team training. So keep those things in mind. If your accounting is not your cup of tea and you're interested in how working with an outsourced accounting firm like mine could be beneficial for your company, I would love to talk to you. I will leave a link in the show notes so that you can access my calendar, schedule an appointment. Let's talk and just see what's out there that we can do together. Thanks for listening to today's podcast. If you enjoyed what you heard today, please share with your network and leave a review so our podcast can reach more women and have a greater impact. If you have any comments or additional topics you'd like discussed on the show, let me know. Before you go, connect with me on LinkedIn and let's keep the conversation going.